What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at another new leader from OP-12. Annoyingly, we still don't have pack art or key art from OP-12. All we know so far is this Kazan. Oh yeah, and remember a couple of days ago when I showed you Silver's Rayleigh as the first card from OP-12? I mean, literally yesterday. Well, wonderful news, ladies and gentlemen. We've now got a Kazan. One interesting thing to point out here. Both the leaders that have been revealed so far are mono leaders. Now, that doesn't mean they're all going to be mono leaders, but every so often we do get a set like OP-07, where we just get one mono leader of each color, and we're always going to get like 6 leaders in a set. That's the thing. That happens. But every so often we do actually get a set like OP-07 where there's no dual color leaders and we just get 6 leaders all mono color. And actually, the last time that happened was back in OP-07. So I'm just saying, might be time. Just to be 100% clear, we don't know. We've only seen 2 leaders. It's just something that occurred to me today when we saw our second mono leader in a row. So we got Kazan here. We've got ourselves a Navy leader, 5,000 power, 5 life. And I'll be honest with you, I had to double check a little bit with this one, but I did obviously translate it myself. And I've again seen some incorrect translations rolling around, so do be careful when you check these. But it reads, whenever you would discard a card from your hand by one of your Navy character abilities, draw the same number of cards. Yeah, that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I've seen translations. The first translation I saw just said whenever you had to discard cards by an ability. It is very specifically, you can see it in the little triangle brackets there. That is Navy. So it's one of your Navy card abilities, makes you discard cards, you draw a number equal to. And you'll notice there's nothing there that looks like it says once per turn, or your turn, or your opponent's turn, or anything like that. You don't have to do anything. This is just a static skill. It's there on your turn, it's there on your opponent's turn, and it's just always there. Now, one thing that is important, I'm pretty sure this just says draw that many cards. It just says the number of cards discarded, draw that many. Now, that means I don't believe it is optional. And in fact, we can put this side by side with the OP-01 Crocodile. Now, I know most of you probably don't read Japanese perfectly, that's absolutely fine. But if you have a look at Kazan there, the very last character is basically like, it's a little kind of triangle bracket thing right at the end. Well, Crocodile has that as well, and then after that it says Kotoka Dekiru, which basically means you may. What that means is, by looking at Crocodile, we can say that Kazan forces you to draw. This is very, 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 very important. Because what it means is, you could deck yourself out doing this. Now, I'm not saying you will, but I am saying, depending on where we go, and I'm not saying it's now, it might be in the future, there is a world where you end up drawing too many cards, decking yourself out and losing the game. That is an option with this, so do be careful. If we can compare this to the Japanese wording of Crocodile, this is not something that you can do. It is an automatic. When you trash cards, you draw that many cards. So mind you don't deck out. But what this basically does is it takes a bunch of cards with massive downsides and completely removes the massive downside. Like, one of my favourite cards to use here is Tsuru. There is a Tsuru here, the one from OP-06, that now becomes amazing. 5 cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 2k, and a counter plus 2k is always good. On play, you can trash 2 cards from your hand, and then your opponent returns one of their characters to the hand. Now, the bumping one of your opponent's characters of their choice is good, but generally speaking, trashing 2 from your hand is actually super annoying. You don't want to do that. Except now you do. Because now it's trash 2, draw 2, your opponent returns a character to their hand. That is a very, very different card in Kazan than it is in any other blue deck. And what this means is these Kazan decks could potentially become ridiculously consistent. Because you're just going to be cycling through your deck. You're not getting a hand advantage here. You're not drawing any more cards than you discard. You're not ending up plussing in hand. What's happening is you are replacing the cards you discard. It means you get through your deck faster. It means you draw into the things that you want to draw into a lot more consistently. It may well be, and again, it's going to depend on what other Navy cards are in OP-12 and all of that, but it may well be that you can deck build a little bit more greedily with Kazan than you can with other leaders. Because by having this extra draw power and cycling through your deck faster, cards that you used to have to play a 4 of, maybe you can lower it down to a 3 of, because the extra draw increases your chance enough that playing 3 with the extra draw from Kazan is basically like playing 4 in any other deck. And now all of a sudden you're opening up extra spaces in your deck. This is a fantastically exciting leader. I can't think of a leader off the top of my head, and if you think you can, let me know in the comment section. I can't think of a leader right now that is going to give you as good a way to just cycle through your deck. It just seems absurdly good at just getting through your deck and getting all of those cards in hand. And that is absolutely phenomenal. Want another example? Because there are some other examples around. The other one I really like the look of here is It's a Waste of Human Life. Because as a main, you place all characters of a cost of 3 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck, which actually would be super duper duper annoying against the Rayleigh I showed you yesterday, which of course can only actually play 4 cost or lower cards. It can't play above 4, so this card against Rayleigh actually going to be low-key super duper annoying. But then you and your opponent both have to trash cards from your hand until you have 5 cards in your hands. So let's say, for argument's sake, you've both got a hand of 8 cards. Well, you go down to 5 by discarding 3. Your opponent goes down to 5 by discarding 3. Oh, wait, but you then draw 3 cards. So now, this card, which basically hurt everybody equally, getting rid of all characters cost 3 or less, making both players go down to 5 in their hand. Nah, mate. Now you get an advantage here, and this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. I don't know whether Aramaki is suddenly going to become amazing. 8 cost, 8k blocker. But I do know that activate main, once per turn, trash a card from your hand and place a character of a cost of 2 or less at the bottom of the owner's deck to give Aramaki a free cost bump. Well, now you trash one, draw one to replace it, bump a 2 cost off the board, and then you gain a 3,000 power bump. Yeah, that's a lot better. Taking these cards that have the downside of you have to trash a card from your hand and turning it into you have to trash a card from your hand and then draw a card to replace it. We play cards that cycle through our deck. Think back to Kaya from OP-03, one of the blue cards that has seen a ridiculous amount of play ever since it came out. Kaya doesn't give you a card advantage. Kaya is draw 2, trash 2. You end up even, but you cycle through your deck. Also has counter plus 2k, which is also obviously great. But we play Kaya just to be able to trash. Well, wonderful news. Also, Kaya's not Navy, so you can't use this with Kazan. Sorry, I mean, you can, but you wouldn't draw 2, trash 2, and then draw another 2. That would be amazing. But no, Kaya's not a Navy card, and remember, this only activates with Navy. Otherwise, Kaya would be so much fun. But it doesn't work. I'm sorry. The point is, we will sometimes play these cards just so that we can cycle our deck. And now we've got a leader that lets us cycle our deck when we're actually supposed to be getting a downside from playing a good card. I adore this leader. Also, very different to what we talked about yesterday with Rayleigh. With Rayleigh, we saw nothing but downsides. Okay, fine, that's a little bit harsh. But we basically saw a leader that seems fundamentally broken right now. And by broken, I don't mean, oh, it's busted, mate. No, it's broken. It fundamentally doesn't work. But the difference here is we've seen a lot of cards. Rayleigh could well end up being an amazing leader. We just need to see the other former Roger Pirates in OP-12 to make our decision. It's a pretty easy guess to make. There's going to be cards in OP-12 that make Rayleigh so much better. With Kazan, there probably will also be a bunch of cards in there that help. But we don't need to see these new cards to go, oh, this leader could be amazing. Now, it may well be that when we see some of these new cards, we absolutely realise quite how good this can be. But the most important thing at the outset is we've already seen enough with cards like Tsuru, cards like, oh, it's a waste of human life. These are the cards we can look at and go, oh, yeah, okay, that's kind of busted. And there's only going to be more that we see in the future. This is a ridiculous leader. I think it's got the best draw of any leader we've seen. You don't gain a card advantage, but you do get to cycle through your deck at a frankly ridiculous pace, and I think that is pretty gosh darn relevant. But I've told you all about it now, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this leader. Am I exaggerating? Or do you think this is going to end up being awesome? Let me know in the comment section. Get us! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.